for someone who's worked his way up in the profession, it's really, for me, the culmination of, a professional dream to get to Ohio State and to be with the best in the business.
To go through that roster like you did today, according to Coach Day, what do you see there on defense? Do you have a handle on it at all yet?
I can't say that I have a handle on it yet. It's going to take a lot of study and a lot of hands-on. There are even things that, sometimes when you watch video, if a guy isn't playing up to par or what you think or he thinks he should be able to do, you don't know what the reason is. I mean, you don't know if he was injured. There are guys who play through injuries and they're tough. I'm figuring that out. We got a lot of good tough guys, but you also don't understand about their decisiveness. In terms of what do they know or don't know. And that's a big thing that I take responsibility for as a coordinator, is that in order for the player to play fast, he has to know exactly what he's doing. It's got to be ingrained. He can't be thinking out there. So, it's not, you don't do guys justice, I think, by just watching the video. I mean, you get some things out of it, but you got to get to know them and, kind of feel what they've been through and how they were trained and some of the things that they had to deal with.
Jim, what was your impression of Ryan Day when you first spoke with him? How does he come across, and did that mean as much to you in taking this job? Because obviously we heard there were other opportunities for you out there, but what just attracted you to him in particular?
Yeah, I didn't know Coach Day, so through a series of conversations, I just got the impression that he was very professional, very in tune to what he was looking for, to what he thought would be best for Ohio State and his program. Conscientious, intelligent, asked a lot of questions, wanted to know more things about me personally and my background. It was more than just football for him, and just very easy to relate to connect with, and I can see why he's risen so quickly in the profession and done so well in recruiting, because he is a connector, and I was able to build a good relationship with him just over the phone, without even having a chance to meet in person.
Yeah, and specifically, what did he kind of tell you that he wants? I mean, from you, obviously, as he relates to us, he wants a head coach of the defense and stuff. But obviously, it's a big opportunity for you. But I would think there's a lot of pressure involved too, because he sees a defense that needs fixing, and he sees you as the fixer. But,
yeah, well, and I've had a good reputation for that, but I talk about what's important now, or what have you done for me lately. You're right, there is a lot of pressure. I mean, that's not lost on me. This is not an entry-level position, to those that a lot has been given, a lot is expected, and I went into Oklahoma State really believing that when we could get the defense to rise to the level and culture of the offense and the things that they did off the field in the weight room, that we'd be able to compete for a national championship. And at Oklahoma State we were 2 feet short this year, right? So but it took 4 years. It's not lost on me that I don't have 4 years here. I don't have 4 years here. This program is ready to win every single game right now, and we have to get the defense to that level. So what Coach Day expects of me is to have a system, that's accountable, that I have to have answers, that the players have to understand why I'm teaching what I'm teaching. You just need to be able to wrap the whole thing. You need to be able to come in and say, here's what we do, here's why we do it, You know, here's why you should buy into it, because you can give historically the facts and figures. This is what it can do for you. This is what it'll do for our team. Let's take a look at the fundamentals, the approach, how we teach. And I've worked hard on how we teach and how we reach this generation, all the different creative ways to do it. But really a system, a plan, be accountable, you know, when things go wrong, which they will every now and then, to have answers, you know, and that's what he wants.
When you zoom out to that big picture, to that system, just I'm sure we won't all understand it, but how would you describe it to somebody in simple terms, what you want to do?
We want to be able to create indecision for the offense, and particularly for the offensive coordinator. I think in college, offensive coordinators even have more a hand on things that happen than in the NFL. You know, so we want to be able to create multiple defenses out of simple looks, and to be creative in a way that the players can understand, right? So you want to have a lot of things, a lot of pressures, different. You know, we were #1 in sacks last year. You know, we've been consistently 1, 2, and third down. You know, those are all big deals for us. Why? Because it gets the ball back to the offense. So we want to create 2 to 3 simple pictures that when you look at it, or the offense coordinator looks at it, he can't tell what's going to happen from that same picture, and that we have the ability to really do anything out of that same picture or that look.
Can you get into some of the fun things you do with your players when you're teaching them about the opposition? I've read things and seen things from some of your ex-players who do like game shows or things like that. Can you get into some of the fun things you do?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, you might think it's kind of corny or this, but you know, the players love it. Yeah, we do quiz shows and you know, relating off of modern game shows and some past game shows from my youth. But we compete by position, you know, and the winners get, you know, I have to take them to dinner, you know, those things, and we also hold them accountable to their teammates, you know. So at any time while I'm teaching, and everything's interactive, like we have certain sayings and things that, you know, I say something, they say something, you know, because I want to keep them engaged. Or at any time during the my presentation, which are, you know, they try to be 20-minute high-energy meetings, their picture can pop up and they have to stand up, and within 2.5 seconds they have to answer a question, because that's how, you know, otherwise it's no, sit down, play's over, you know. So we just keep them on their toes and keep them locked in and engaged that way.
What's your favorite game show?
I like $25,000 Pyramid, but that goes back a long way.
Jim, what are your impressions? I don't know how much you've studied Ohio State defense from last year. What are your impressions from what you saw, and how much work needs to be done to get to the level that you want to get to?
You know, I don't. From what I've seen, I don't think we're far off. I think the guys that were here are good coaches. I just feel like, you know, we can gain a lot just through the presentation and being systematic, having answers, having variety, you know, so that the offense doesn't know exactly what to expect, you know, and being aggressive. So I think there are things that we can do just through the packaging of it, but I don't. From what I've seen, I don't feel like we're far off, and I think the guys who are here did a good job.
It seems like, I mean, based on your previous stops, that you know, the outside linebacker position has kind of been the face of the change, and I mean, obviously that's your position here to kind of change that room. And I'm like, where does that come into play? Like, how important is, say, the outside linebacker or just the linebacker room in terms of just this overall change that you're trying to make?
Yeah, I think the productivity, and you saw that from the linebackers, and then you know, we play a lot with a stand-up D lineman who, you know, some may consider like an outside linebacker, you know, so he's part of that. But those guys and their multiplicity and how they move around in different positions they end up in, and you know, us kind of funneling the ball to those guys and people you can trust that are going to just tough guys, you know. Doesn't matter about their stars or whatever they have. It's just tough guys who you know are going to get people on the ground. And then you're right, we can move things around to kind of funnel the ball to them so they get to make a lot of plays.
Jim, what is Tanner coming over with you, I guess, so to speak? How does that help in the transition and maybe installation of the scheme?
Yeah, Tanner is he was already a coach on the field, and he'll be more so here at Ohio State because he's been with me. We've been through the wars together. He understands me. You know, he can talk to the other guys if I get loud or I get, you know, I can be aggressive when I coach. He can talk to the other guys and he can talk about my style to them, but he can also explain the defense to them in a way that coaches can't, you know, or someone my age can't. I mean, he has them out now just on his own, just going through different things and kind of preparing them for what I'm going to do. So he'll be invaluable.
Were you surprised at all that he didn't move on to the NFL, that you had a chance to coach him again?
Yeah, I mean, I was. I didn't, talk to him at all until he went on the transfer portal. But I thought he was gonna. Move on to the NFL, and I thought he could. I mean, that's, you know, every game, you know, use different things. You say things to different guys in the stretch lines, you know. And one of my thing with him was always like, hey man, you're a professional. You're a professional at what you do, because that's what he did all the time. I mean, he played nickel, covered the slot, and competed in some really tough situations. So I think he'll be a great professional someday. I'm glad he's going to spend the year with us, though.
How do you feel like that Leo position that you use at Oklahoma State meshes with the personnel that you have here? Because obviously a lot of guys here have just been traditional defensive ends.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet. It's a good question. I'm not sure yet. You know, I'm just, like I said, we really just started to look at that today, because we were on the road for a couple weeks recruiting, and we just got new staff members in here. So it was really today was a day where we could sit down with Coach Day and Coach Mick, right? And I could get in a room with them and say, tell me about this guy, tell me about that guy. You know what I mean? And Coach Johnson, who's been here, Coach Rhodes, who was here, like everybody could kind of chime in, and I could just sit there and take notes and kind of start to just get an idea of what the puzzle pieces are. So I guess I don't know enough yet about that.
Coach Day talked about fresh starts. He thought it would be invigorating. It was time. No more tweaking. We need a new approach. How invigorating is that for you?
It's great. I mean, it's what I do. I mean, I don't think you could ask for a better situation. You're not walking into a program that struggled. You're walking into Ohio State, you know, Rose Bowl winner, 12-2, national champion. I mean, you know, so for me to be able to come in on a clean slate with, hey, this is what I do with this defense that I've established, you know, it's great because the support is all there. Everything's right there.
Well, he calls you the head coach of the defense. How? I mean, it's a lot of autonomy, I assume, because I've always seen him. Hey, I want to score 50 points a game. I want to call plays. I want to run the offense. If you can fix this for me, then you maybe parallel to your Oklahoma State experience.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, Coach Gundy was an offensive coach. Coach Day's an offensive coach. I think, you know, I know what Coach Day wants he wants a room that is healthy, and I'm talking about staff, players, relationships, successful answers. You know, he realizes things aren't going to go perfectly, but what is the overall culture of the defense? And I think you're right. Hey, if you get that going, you take care of that, so he can focus on other things. And I was a head coach at a much smaller level at Cornell, so I know what it's like to. I mean, I think I'm a much better assistant coach from having that head coach experience, because you know, that's my job. My job is to take that off his plate. But it's also, I think, for the fans, the alumni, anybody who cares about Ohio State, that having a great defense just brings everybody hope and relief, and takes the stress away, right? I mean, that's what I wanted to do at Oklahoma State, and we did it. Because things aren't always going to go right with the offense or weather or whatever. When you have a defense that you can rely on, it makes everybody feel good about the team and your chance to win. So, including the head coach. And that's my job, is to do that. Yeah.
When you evaluate the idea of moving along your career, right? Not just team aspirations, but you are on your own journey, your own path. You evaluate different opportunities. How do you make a decision whether something is worth pursuing and you taking a leap from a place where you were successful versus, hey, maybe this isn't worth it? How did you come about that decision that this wasn't for you?
And there's a lot of talk, with different people. There is a lot of introspection. For me, there was a lot of communication with the players that I had. I mean, I really involved those guys at Oklahoma State at this. I probably took an unconventional path with that, because I really shared with them everything that was going on, like they were my sons, like, contract negotiations, things that, I think there's too much of coaches just kind of slipping away in the middle of the night, So I involved my current players at Oklahoma State, the leadership group there. We talked and so that when I made the decision, they understood why, But I think it's it's that gut feeling. I think that like you talk about with recruits, it's like how will you know? Well, if you talk to enough people, if you have an open mind, and you have a lot of respect for where you're at, I think it comes to you. And that's how this opportunity felt to me.
Jim, when Ryan Day's number popped up on the caller ID, if that's what it did.
I didn't have his number, so wasn't in my phone.
Yeah. I mean, how did you know it was him? And how did that first connection happen? And what did you think the first time you knew that Ohio State would possibly be interested in you?
That's a good question. How did I eventually realize it was him? He probably called and left me a message. Yeah, right. And that was back in the day. It was just Ryan Day. Yeah, right. You're kidding, right? It's one of my buddies messing with me, right? No, but So you start a conversation with a coach like Coach Day of his caliber. You start, I think, kind of guarded, kind of like, okay, let me really think about what I'm saying and doing. And then, he is just such a quality person from our conversations, who really cares about that relationship with his coaches and players, that it just becomes easier. It becomes easier. And I think for him too, then we just started to relate at a more comfortable level. So, I think it can be a little bit, there's some trepidation in the beginning, but he is easy to build a relationship with. So.
Were you looking to leave, or were you happy where you were?
Yeah, I was really happy where I was, and I had an unbelievable relationship with those players at Oklahoma State, and we built something that was real. So, they were the ones that were kind of started on me. Oh, coach, everybody's going to come after you. You're doing this, you're doing that. And, you just kind of play it off like, yeah, okay, right. Let's concentrate on the next game. And, they were the ones, they were probably joking with me about it before I even thought about it, And then, it just, it seemed to be my time. You have that, like, you put in that 10,000 hours, you become an expert in your field. The numbers start to show up. All of a sudden you're producing great numbers, and then all the calls kind of come in. It just kind of happens like that. Bam. It's just like, here you go, and now all of a sudden you have these opportunities, and you just have to learn as much as you can about it and try to make the best decision.
Jim, you just got started here, but I'm curious, a year from right now, you're done with your first season. What is the Jim Knowles Ohio State defense known
For being tenacious. I mean, just for overwhelming the offense, for being always in the right place. When you watch it, you can always in the right place. Not giving up anything easy, and then attacking with the tackles for losses and the sacks, and the third down domination.
Is there anything that stuck out maybe from what you've just seen so far that might be your biggest challenge to get there?
Not yet. No, I can't comment on it yet. Don't know enough yet.
Jim, how would you describe the linebacker safety hybrid position? The skill set that you're looking for a guy at that position, the responsibilities typically, and what you like to run with the guy at that spot?
Really, I think you're talking more. It's more like a linebacker D-line, a hybrid position, right? We'll play with a couple linebackers, we'll play with a couple safeties, and then we'll play with that D-line linebacker hybrid guy who really has to be an intelligent player, right? And then he has to be reckless. He has to be reckless, and he has to have the ability to recognize plays quickly or recognize keys or things, right? Because it's just a guy that you want, like a jack of all trades, a Swiss Army knife that you can put in and plug in and place in different places to take advantage of a weakness in the offense, or to plug a hole that you may have in a particular defense. So that intelligence, or football intelligence, along with just being, really incredibly tough and resilient.
Jim, what differentiates the three safety positions?
The one safety position, more of a nickel safety, which Tanner played for me at Oklahoma State. That's, almost like a third corner, not going to be involved as much in the run game. It just, as we go with today's offenses, he needs to be able to match up in the slot, and then you have the boundary safety who's going to be more involved in the run game, and less involved in man coverage, and then the bandit or free safety who kind of just has to be the captain of the defense, run things.
All right, last question.
When you were putting the staff together and talking with Ryan about how you wanted to have position coaches and stuff, why was it important, or what do you see as kind of the advantage of having like two secondaries?
Yeah, I think in today's game of big-time college football, that things get spread out quickly. You're most vulnerable. You can be most vulnerable to giving things up in the secondary, in mismatched or making mistakes. That's where you can get hurt the most and quickly. And we need two quality coaches there. I believe that to be able to spend the amount of time necessary to get those guys ready, because they're just placed in so many different positions, and they can, it can win or lose games for you. So I think we need to commit coaching resources there.
Have you always had a structure like that?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.